Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Redmen TV Daily News with me, Luke Fiore. Back again. I had my debut last week, and today we're sort of still figuring it out. You know, we're still probably going to be a few mistakes along the way. Make sure to get involved in the chat and help me out with them, because if I haven't seen it, I will probably see it in the chat, so please let me know. But yeah, a very long weekend, lots of late nights, lots of football being played, bit of UFC on as well. Paddy got the win there, well done to him, but... yeah, now I'm going to dive into the Liverpool transfer news. I can see a few of you already in the chat. Make sure to keep your comments coming in the chat because I will pull them up on screen. It is an interactive show. It's your show. And you will be seeing more of me. This is a good bit of practice for America when Chloe and Dan are here. I'm going to be on the news pretty much every day. So, yeah, it's good that we start getting it in now. To start with the transfer news, we will start on a little bit of Cody Gakpo news coming from the man himself, Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano has said that essentially Cody Gakpo is a priority for Tottenham. So, according to Romano, they've marked the Dutch forward down as a priority option as they seek greater quality and flexibility in wide areas. That interest is easy enough to understand. Gakpo offers that sort of tactical generosity the modern game coaches crave. Yeah, I mean, he can play multiple positions, can't he, Cody Gakpo? Play out on the left. Probably could do a bit out on the right as well, but more, he can do stuff through the middle. Tottenham need a striker. Is Cody Gakpo your main striker? Probably not. Liverpool have learned that the hard way in recent times, and we've had to ask him to do a few jobs there for us, with the likes of Hugo Ekitike being injured this season, Alexander Isak not being quite fit. Gakpo did do a lot of 9 for Liverpool, and even when he come in, he did a left and then went to doing quite a lot of 9. I think he's not the greatest 9 in my books, but he's very versatile and he offers you a very, very good option there. The way Tottenham have been moving in the transfer window would lead you to believe that this one might happen. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it will. Liverpool can't afford to let Cody Gakpo go, I don't think. I think there's already too much work to do this summer that Liverpool haven't planned for Cody Gakpo to be leaving. With the amount of players Liverpool probably need to bring in, you're looking at like a right back, a centre back, a central midfielder, a winger. And then possibly next season, you're also looking like another replacement goalie if Alisson moves on, possibly another centre-back if Van Dijk moves on. Liverpool have got so much work to do. It's almost looking like 3 or 4 wonders. If you're then losing somebody unexpectedly who you plan to keep at the start of the window, that starts breaking all the plans up, doesn't it? But yeah, we'll move on to some Edwards and Hughes news in a moment. And essentially, whoever's running Liverpool's transfer plans at the minute probably won't be running them in the next window. So you'd like to think the lads there at the moment do have that in mind and they aren't just looking out for 6 weeks down the line when they're not going to be here anymore. So, yeah, definitely let us know what you think of that one in the comments. I'll just have a quick scroll down, see if there's anything else too interesting here. This article's on OneFootball, if you believe. It's just an aggregated article from Romano, what he said, because he actually said it on his YouTube channel, which had quite an interesting thumbnail if you want to go and check it out. But yeah, I'll pull up the live chat now and see what you guys are saying on that one. Brill. A lot of midfield talk. Yeah, we need to destroy. Wouldn't be surprised to go for someone like Tyler Adams. Yeah, I mean, we do need a midfielder. There is a midfielder in the news that you've seen on the thumbnail that we will be coming on to shortly. Oh, it's a good comment, actually. Will Chris be talking formations with Iriola today? Chris won't be going today, unfortunately. I know he was really up for going, really wanted to go, but yeah, unfortunately, he won't be going. So we won't be getting any clips of the manager telling Chris that his question's wrong or he hasn't done his research. Because, yeah, Chris won't be there today, but the press conference is live on Redmen 2. I'll make sure I wrap this up just in time so you can get on over there and watch that. Yeah, that's the big story, isn't it? But unfortunately, I can't talk about that now because we don't know what he said. But yeah, I am looking forward to it. I'm quite excited about the press conference coming up. Let us know if you are in the chat as well. Moving back to the news then anyway. This one's quite a good story, actually. This obviously, we've seen a lot of talk around Curtis Jones possibly leaving Liverpool this summer. And I'm just going to pull that comment off screen. Sorry, lads. I'm still learning. Yeah, we've seen a lot of talk around Curtis Jones leaving Liverpool this summer into Milan. Obviously, they're apparently preparing a new bid. We went through that with La Gazzetta dello Sport, the Italian paper, on Friday. Ben Jacobs have seemed to have backed that up. He does think Liverpool, Inter Milan are going to put in a new bid, an improved bid for Curtis Jones, closer to Liverpool's €40 million valuation. But Nottingham Forest, according to La Gazzetta dello Sport on Saturday, I think, agreed a deal with Curtis Jones. And that seemed to be news to Curtis Jones, as if we just move over to Twitter, a certain Liverpool page, who you can see on screen but we won't mention, basically put up an Instagram post saying that the deal is pretty much done. Curtis Jones is agreed to go with Nottingham Forest and the initial terms are there. And Curtis Jones replied with a little eyebrow raise as if he didn't have any idea about it. So, I think he could have shut it down a bit more. The eyebrow raise leads to believe it was news to him, but he's also leaving the door open, is how I would read that. How you would read that's down to you. We don't know. It's the modern day footballers and their emojis, eh? But yeah, I would say that was news to Curtis Jones. So I don't think there isn't quite an agreement there between him and Nottingham Forest. And if we're to move over to Ben Jacobs, he put the Inter are considering a new bid for Curtis Jones, despite seeing a €25 million approach instantly rejected. Instantly, he went with there. Liverpool prepared to keep Jones if their $40 million valuation isn't met, still waiting new formal talks. So yeah, I think the one we had from La Gazzetta dello Sport on Friday said that Inter were basically doing a lot of work in the market and we're just focusing on doing that. But Curtis Jones was still a priority target of theirs. Yeah, I think Inter Milan would be a better move for Curtis Jones than Nottingham Forest. I just don't think he'd fit their system very well. My problem is if Curtis Jones goes to Nottingham Forest and he is the Elliot Anderson replacement and they've paid 40 million for him, if he plays every week and he doesn't have to tear it up. He could put in 7, 8, week in, week out, be very, very consistent. He suddenly then becomes €80 million and €90 million, and especially with the English tag as well on him, with him being homegrown. And you're looking at that thinking, God, Liverpool have missed out there. Only if we could have played him. But yeah, I mean, he needs to play his way into the squad. Liverpool have got a lot of options. We've got Alexis McAllister, who will be in the World Cup semi-final against England on Wednesday night. And then we've got Ryan Gravenberch, and we've got Szoboszlai, probably going to maybe drop a little bit deeper. We've got Wirtz, who's obviously a 10. I don't think Curtis Jones could play like for like there. But like I said, we have lots and lots of options. Curtis Jones needs to make the shirt his own if he wants to play every single week, doesn't he? So yeah, we'll see what he thinks of that one and how it's going to go down, really, if he's going to still be here in the summer. Bit of stuff on Gakpo. Yeah, Gakpo was very underwhelming last season. I think I said that on Friday. Cody Gakpo is a very good footballer. I do believe so. But I felt like last season, maybe his decision-making weren't quite there. And maybe he didn't have as much tactical freedom as he had under Jurgen Klopp a few seasons prior. I think for the Netherlands in the World Cup, I think he had a very good World Cup. But I just think he looked a bit more free. Like he was allowed to be a little bit more creative within their system, where I feel like he was quite rigid in ours, and every time we got the ball, you were like, right, Gakpo's going to get it and cut inside, and that's exactly what he did most weeks. But that being said, he did have some big games. I think on the Fulham game where he played the 9 and he got a goal there and stuff. So, yeah, I do think he's going to stay, and I think he is going to be the starter, and it'll be him and Rio competing for that starting position from day one. But I think Gakpo will start the season, yeah. Anything else in the chat? I assume this means Barcola news. I haven't seen any Barcola news. If there is any, please let me know about it. Yeah, I'm quite big on Bradley Barcola. If we can get him for a good fee, that is. If we've got to pay 150 million or whatever Paris are touting recently, he's an absolute no-go. If you can get him for somewhere between 60 and 90, I would definitely have him 100%. Yeah, practically everyone was underwhelming under Slot last season. Yeah, we were a bit lacklustre, weren't we? Whether that was tactics, we will now get to see under the new manager. We will now get to see if that was the players or if it was Arne Slot. I'm hoping it was Arne Slot, to be honest. But yeah, still a very good Liverpool manager, isn't he? Won us the league and stuff. So yeah, I expect the transfer. I think we all expect the transfer. We're all waiting on that big Liverpool news to drop, aren't we? But we will have loads to talk about today just because of the press conference that's happening later on. Brill, we move back to the news then. Brill. I did have the Michael Edwards stuff next on my list. We will just fly through that very briefly because this came out on Friday, but obviously there hasn't been a news show since Friday and it come out after the news show. So we'll fly through this one really quick. I'm sure everyone knows by now that Michael Edwards has quit his role at FSG as CEO of football. Big news because Michael Edwards is such a massive figure in sort of the Liverpool backroom. But in terms of his job at the moment, he was essentially overseeing the multi-club ownership, and Liverpool scrapped the multi-club ownership after looking at various clubs earlier this season. So yeah, essentially, I don't know what he's been doing since then. I'm sure they gave him some duties to do, but it hasn't been quite clear. The statement that came out was, I leave believing Liverpool's in a strong position with outstanding people, a clear direction, and the foundations in place for continued success. Michael Edwards did give us a lot of success, but it does feel like after we scrapped that multi-chip ownership, multi-club model, that he didn't really have a job anymore. So yeah, he stepped away from that one. Obviously, that also leads in with it looks like Richard Hughes is going to be going at the end of the window. That's the rumours that he will be going to Al Hilal, sort of when the season starts, when the transfer window closes. I don't know if this is going to be a period of him not working and then working again. None of that's quite clear yet. But yet it looks like there's going to be quite a big change up in terms of the Liverpool backroom staff. So, yeah, we'll wait to see how that one happens. I know a lot of people are sort of for that, and there's also a lot of people against it. It's quite, when I've been looking on socials, it's quite a 50-50 split. I would say, like, the lads got the job done in the window last year. They got us everyone we wanted. It just didn't work out, did it? You know, and sometimes that sort of stuff happens. They have generally been quite good for Liverpool in the window in terms of getting deals done. Just maybe last season wasn't a great reflection of that. We went out and we spent big money. We got the people we got, and we didn't quite get the return that we expected. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Liverpool sort of reshape that backroom staff. Anyway, moving on quickly, we will go over to some Dave Okop exclusive. Dave Okop, I'm a big fan of Dave Okop. I think he's a good lad. How reliable Dave Okop is another question. I'll leave the comments to decide that one. But yeah, I do like Dave. He's a good fella. He has an exclusive at the moment, and it is that Liverpool have been offered the chance to sign Zabani. Obviously, Ilya Zabani. Pretty sure, yeah. Pretty confident I'm going to say that. He played under Andoni Iraola 2 seasons ago, it'll be, coming up. Under Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth. So yeah, let me just flick through this. We're getting a little bit of lag here on the article. Not great for everybody watching. Do apologise. But yeah, he goes on saying the article, did skim read it earlier, that Liverpool sort of had initial talks with... Oh, Bobby just knocked that off for us. Had initial talks with Nico Slotterbeck last season over a new defender, because Liverpool could do with a centre-half, really. We've lost Ibu Konate for free. We've got Jeremy Jacquet, who looks like he's going to be the main option alongside Virgil van Dijk, who possibly could be his last season at Anfield. We know his contract is coming to an expiry. Zabani would be a great option. You know, he's a very good centre-back. He's been playing at Paris. Hasn't been starting too much. You know, we often go with Marquinhos and Pacho. I mean, they're two of the greatest centre-backs in the world. Being bled into a squad there under them two, as a young player, that's exactly what you want. But Liverpool potentially are going to need the Virgil van Dijk replacement next season, especially. So if you could bring someone in now and start planning ahead for that, doing some contingency planning, that will be better for Liverpool. However, as we said earlier, Liverpool have got so much work to do. It's either going to be a massive window where we see 8 players or possibly like 4 main key ones, is how I'm viewing it. But yeah, if we could bring someone like Zabani in, I definitely wouldn't be against that at all. I think I've got the article back now, as it just froze. I'll just see if Dave popped the pricing, because I seem to have forgotten that one. No, I can't see one in there. I can't see a price of how much PSG are touting him for. But yeah, very good defender. I would quite like him. Let us know in the comments what you think about it. But yeah, I see a world where Liverpool need a centre-back, and I think he's a good option, is essentially what I'm going to leave that at. And we'll move back over to the comments and see what you guys are saying. Brill. It's not a clickbait title. We're going to move to the final story in a moment. I promise you, it's not. We want to save the final story for the end. We want to leave you on all here waiting for a little bit, you know, get the chat going. We want all these in so you can read the news. Yeah, it was good at Bournemouth. I think he was very good at Bournemouth. It's just the fee, isn't it? We've got to get the fee right, because we've got a lot of work to do. So I'd be interested in what you think, how much Zabani's worth, to be honest. I'm not quite sure. Like I said, he didn't play that much at Paris this year because he was just a third option. He's still a young player. They've got 2 very, very good players. If Liverpool could get him in for, like, I don't know, maybe somewhere between like 50 to 60, that would be decent, wouldn't it? But I'm sure, like, Paris probably paid a lot of money for him, and they want to get that investment back. So, yeah. What's this one? Doesn't feel great knowing one of our most important windows in recent years is being conducted by guys that won't even be here in a few months. Far from ideal. Yeah, I mean, that is the counter argument to everyone saying, well, at least we're going to get a new back room. It's almost like when you give me noticing at work and you're working them final 4 weeks, you probably do the least amount of work you've ever done, don't you? Because you know you're going. I'm sure the lads aren't viewing it like that, but there's definitely a world where from the outside looking in, sometimes it's viewed of that, especially if we don't go out and get the players that we all expect us to get. So I can see exactly what you mean, but I'm hoping the lads they're definitely more professional and that they're in top jobs at Liverpool Football Club. I'm sure they want to leave Liverpool in the best stead they can so that they can move to the next job and go, look how great I left Liverpool. And also so they can be remembered fondly by the fans and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, loan with option to buy. I mean, would Paris be up for that? I mean, who else they got at the back? Marquinhos, Pacho. I know they've got him. Let us know in the comments who else they have at the back. My PSG knowledge isn't great. But yeah, that could definitely be something that Liverpool look at doing. I could see as bringing in a loan to buy. It would help us out massively because we could do with an extra body at the back. It looks like it's going to be Leone just coming back for a big injury, Jacquet, Van Dijk and Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez being the most experienced. I wouldn't be surprised as Joe Gomez starts on day one, but it's how fit Joe Gomez is by match day 4 that worries me. Can he play 4 or 5 games in a row without getting injured? We'll see. We will see that one. He does have a poor injury record at the moment, doesn't he? But he's very good, Joe Gomez. I mean, he come on against PSG, didn't he, in the Champions League knockout game? And he come on and then got subbed off, and he played about 25 minutes, I think, maybe not even that. And he was brilliant, in my opinion. And then it had to come off, and we were like, why is he taking Gomez off? Why is he doing that? But it comes out after the game that he was injured and he wasn't quite 100%. But yeah, it's more his injury record that worries me and Liverpool being left short in that regard. Anyway, we'll move on to the final story, which is Joao Gomez. The original article is translated to We Are over on This Is Anfield. So yeah, good friends of the show. So go check This Is Anfield out. But yeah, Liverpool have reportedly initiated contract for Wolves midfielder Joao Gomez after his proposed move to Atletico Madrid collapsed. I'm pretty sure the source for this one is out of Brazil, where Joao Gomez is from. So yeah, he was relegated this season with Wolves and was expected to move to Atletico, and that sort of fell apart. So he is there. The fee being touted is 40 million euros. So yeah, it would definitely sort a lot of Liverpool's problems out. We do definitely need a midfielder. Joao Gomez is, I would say, one that's being touted around the Premier League as one of the top names, but it's almost like when someone gets relegated, I feel like you lose a bit of that credibility, almost like Matheus Fernandes, very good midfielder, but then goes down with West Ham, and the question marks are, how good is he really if West Ham have gone down? That's sort of the same situation with Joao Gomez. However, I think Joao Gomez maybe is a little bit better than Matheus Fernandes. However, he's very good on the ball, very good technically, and also very good at breaking up play, in my opinion, but isn't quite the quickest. That's how I view him. I'm sure there'll be various other people in the chat who view him differently. In terms of how Liverpool are going to play this season, which I'm sure we'll learn more about in the press conference today, is he going to suit that style of play? That's where I'd be leading my question marks. I think he will, because Liverpool are always going to have a lot of the ball and be very dominant in possession. But it's how, if we're going to be very quick on the counter and very quick vertically in terms of forward passes, is he going to quite suit us? That's where my question marks would be. But yeah, very, very good footballer. Liverpool need a midfielder, so I could see why this one makes a lot of sense. And 40 million for any footballer in the modern day and age is good market value. That's why we're all sat here umming and ahhing over Curtis Jones. That's his touter's fee. It would almost be like for like if we lost Curtis Jones and then we brought in Joao Gomez in terms of net spend. So yeah, I can definitely see that one almost being a semi-reality. I can see it being a possibility. It's definitely realistic. So yeah, let us know what you think of that one in the chat. We'll move over to it now. Yeah. I'd rather have Jones go as a 6 than Maka. Maka's is a good player, but he was a gnome in the pivot last season. Yeah, he didn't have his greatest season last season. It's almost like I wouldn't want to say his legs are gone, because his legs definitely aren't gone. He's still definitely got a lot in them, but he weren't playing with the same intensity and grit what we've known Alexis McAllister play with. I think he's had a few good performances at the World Cup. I know in the first knockout game he didn't have a great one. He was getting hounded by the Argentinian papers, but the manager stuck with him, started him against Switzerland, and he got the goal from the corner kick. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Maka's future lies. If we lose Maka, there's surely got to be a world where we keep Curtis Jones, because just the squad's already thin enough. We need to keep the players, to be honest, especially in terms of rotation. I was having this conversation the other day with a few of the lads. Went out for a bevy this weekend. I'm sure everyone did in the sun. And it was like, Liverpool pretty much have a double game week every week in terms of like Carabao Cup, Champions League. Then you get to the second half of the season FA Cup, Champions League, if you're still in it, late stages, Premier League, Christmas time, you could be playing 3 games in a week. Liverpool need a deeper squad this season, and we need to utilise it. We can't be having a few injuries and then just falling over and going, oh, well, we've got, there's a few times last season where we'd have like 4 or 5 kids on the bench who realistically weren't going to come on, and they just wasted slots on the bench. And Liverpool need to be, making 4 or 5 subs a game, having a team of probably greater than 16. You're probably looking more at Arsenal's numbers and thinking they've got probably around 21 starters. If Liverpool really want to compete, we need them sort of numbers, but we would need to do a lot of work in the transfer market to get them. So yeah, great engine on him. Reminds me of Genie. Think he can suit the box to box. That's probably where you disagree with me a bit. I don't think there is a great engine on him, but that's football. We all have different opinions. He probably does have a great engine on him. I just don't think he's the fastest in terms of midfielders. But yeah, that's what football is. It's a game of opinions. We can all agree and disagree on everything. Gomes is a Bellingham type player, smooth and flair. I think that's been overhyped. Bellingham's been really good at the World Cup, and that's another conversation I was having this weekend. There was a world at one point where Liverpool looked like we were going to get Jude Bellingham. And imagine the world we did. And obviously as well, what we haven't touched on is like the stuff that came out last week about Mbappe and Klopp going to meet Mbappe. Imagine a world where Liverpool had Mbappe and Jude Bellingham. That would be absolutely insane, wouldn't it? Yeah. What's this one? Barcola, Bowen Wharton, Lacroix, and Kone if Jones goes. I think that puts us back in contention for trophies. Yeah, we need to make a lot of moves, don't we, if we're going to be back on that sort of title challenge, because it does look like we were quite far off it last season. Barcola, I'm all in on Barcola as long as the fee is right. The stuff Paris have been saying, like 150 million euros or whatever they've been touting, is crazy amounts of money. I view him of maybe like somewhere between the region of 60 to 80, possibly 90, if you really, really want to go and get him. In terms of the Bowen stuff, I was all for Bowen at the start of the window. I think he's almost like a Shaqiri type signing. You bring someone in, you don't have to pay a dramatic fee like you've got to pay for Barcola. Yes, he's very old, but he can play. I say he's very old. He's not very old. He's just not Liverpool's profile of play that we're looking for at the moment. But he's an experienced Premier League player who can play multiple positions. He's someone you put on the bench and you rotate in and out, especially if Liverpool got injuries. You can play him on the right, you can play him at striker. It looks like we could be needing someone to do a bit of striker work. With Ekitike going to be out for quite a while. So yeah, Adam Wharton, it seems like that's gone quiet recently, doesn't it? He's another one where lots of forward passes, but not quite sure on the amount of pace that he has. But it depends what profile of player Liverpool are looking for. I think Lacroix has had some links away, but Liverpool haven't quite been involved with them. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. And Kone for Jones, yeah. A lot of people like Kone. I know Josh from the Deep Dive said he's the plug-and-play option. If you're looking for someone to come in and you can play straight away, it probably is Kone. But then he was sort of comparing Kone and Buwadi and Gilberto Mora and a few others. So, yeah, definitely would make sense to for Liverpool. But yeah, this is definitely the view I have on the Barcola stuff. Stop getting PSG scraps, break the bank for Kvaratskhelia. Amazing, go and get Kvaratskhelia. There's not a world where Liverpool do that. But in terms of the first one, stop getting PSG's scraps, if you will. I see that as like, if PSG are going to pay big on Diamande, we're then picking up Barcola and offsetting that Diamande deal for them massively. Like, we are, and Barcola's a great player, but there's got to be a world where if PSG pay loads of money for Diamande, that Barcola price, instead of it going higher, you need to be looking at them and saying, right, well, they've got to probably bring in some sort of net return in terms of they bought, let's offset it by 60 in terms of they bought Diamande for what? What's the Diamande fee? Like 120, 130 RB Leipzig are asking for. You then looking at Barcola thinking, if we're paying over 100 for him, they're basically like for like. They're getting that net spend back. If anything, you want to be looking, well, they need some money back in. We can probably lowball them and get Barcola a bit cheaper, is how I would view that. And it's also, they'd have so many wide options in terms of Barcola, the player. If he thinks he's not going to get the playing time he deserves, he might want to push for a move as well. So yeah, it's sort of, the winger market looks like everyone's waiting for dominoes to fall. But yeah, we'll see how that one develops. It's always interesting, the winger market. I think it's absolutely mad, to be honest, the amount of money they're going for these days. But yeah, it is 5-2, and I'm very aware that the press conference is going to be starting soon. So we are going to wrap up the news there. Thanks for joining me. I am trying to get better at this. So any constructive comments, I am trying to flick through and read them. So please leave them down there. The press conference is going to be on Redmen 2 in 5 minutes' time. So yeah, first looks at Andoni Iraola, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So yeah, I will see you. I won't see you tomorrow, sorry, but there will be a new show tomorrow. I'm not on it until next week again. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, peace out, as Bobby would say.